All right, this video is to show you about cutting your base for the coaster. So our coaster base, as mentioned in the document, is 4 inches by 4 inches by the height of the wood. Well, this wood that we're going to use today is this tall. You can see it's that tall. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about making sure the base works. So we're going to use this table, this saw on a table. We call it a table saw. And over here, I've set the dimensions so it'll work properly. We just go ahead and mark it on the ruler here at 4 inches. And at the 4-inch mark, I know that my length and width are both going to be 4 inches. So the blade is set here at a high enough mark that it will be able to cut through the wood. And it's actually set probably more at like 4 1/8 of an inch because it does account for the depth of the blade, or the width of the blade, excuse me, not the depth. So that's going to be helpful to us. So when we cut through the blade, or when we cut the wood through the blade, the wood is going to go flat against this straight edge. And I'm going to kind of hold it a little bit with my hand to make sure it goes straight through and holds against that plate. I'm going to feed the wood through the blade. The blade doesn't catch the wood and then pull it for you. You have to keep applying constant pressure through it. Once I cut it through one way, then I'm going to have a long piece that I can cut into multiple 4-inch pieces. You'll be doing this cut with us as teachers, but we want to show you what it's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and do the long cut, and then I'll stop the saw, and I'll show you how I'm going to adjust the wood for the next cut. Safety first. Now you probably saw as I was cutting, I used this little guide because I didn't want to get my fingers near the blade. So if I use the guide as I get close, it pushes the wood away so I don't have to worry about it. Now, this piece over here is scrap that we can use later. I'm just going to set it off to the side. This is the piece that we want. Nice and straight on both edges. And now we're going to go off this flush edge against the plate and I'm going to push it. Now this is going to be a long piece. So I'm going to use the guide here a little bit and I'm going to push with my hand. I'm going to use the guide over here to kind of push the wood along. And I'm just going to keep my fingers off against the side piece here to guide it. My thumb's going to push it along because I have to have constant pressure on both sides. So this is going to be a nice quick cut. Again, safety first. That's why we're using these things. Push it all the way to the end. You always push the wood all the way to the end. If you don't want to put your hand there, I totally get it. That's why we have the guide that you can push through. And that's how we make our 4-inch by 4-inch base for our coaster set. Now I just have to sand it up, make it look pretty.